What's up, everybody? So today I'm doing the 100 greatest cards ever, number 25 to number 1. I've already done a video of 100 to 26, and if you haven't seen it already, I highly recommend going back and watching those before you watch 25 to 1. And just as I said in previous videos, just some of the things that went into what I thought were the greatest cards ever. Obviously, the value of the card, the supply, the demand, the greatness of the player, just the awesomeness of the card, and sort of the impact to the overall hobby. So, without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and get started with number 25, which is the 1911 T3 Turkey Red Cabinets Ty Cobb card. It is definitely the biggest card on the list of top 100 that I have. This was actually a redemption. So if you had 10 Turkey Red cigarette coupons or 25 Old Mill or Fez coupons, you could send those coupons in and get this particular card, which is pretty awesome. It's like, you know, clearly it's a lot bigger than your typical card, and it is obviously one of the nicest looking cards that I've ever seen, so I definitely wanted to include it in my top 25. And number 24 is the 1939 Play Ball Ted Williams. I don't have the Ted Williams, but I do have the 1939 Play Ball Joe DiMaggio. And this is his true rookie. One of the things that I think is amazing about Ted Williams is that, he had 521 home runs, and despite spending 5 years in the military, which is just amazing to me. And just one of the, this is the rookie card of Teddy Ball Game, so just wanted to include it. Next up is, at number 23, the 1963 Topps Pete Rose. Recently, a PSA 10 of this particular card sold for $157,000, actually in 2012. I think that the reasoning for the four players, it's not the most beautiful cards of all time, but it is sort of an iconic card. I think the reason why they decided to put 4 players on the card was to limit the amount of cards in the set, actually. If you do purchase this card, it's highly known for counterfeits, so just be very careful if you're interested in purchasing this card. Number 22 is the 1949 Bowman Satchell Paige. He's been listed multiple times on my top 100, and I just noticed one thing that I never noticed before, that apparently, at the age of 58, he pitched 3 scoreless innings with the Kansas City A's, which is crazy. 58 years old and pitching in a Major League Baseball game. Number 21 is a very iconic card. It's the 1941 Play Ball Joe DiMaggio. This is also the year that, 1941 is the year that he had his 56-game hitting streak. It's also the year that Ted Williams hit 406. But just in terms of, it's not his rookie card, but without a doubt it's the most desirable card of Joe DiMaggio's, and is number 21 on my list. Number 20 is the 1980 Topps Rickey Henderson. And just one of the obviously the most iconic cards of all time. I actually have this card. There you go. It's not a PSA 10, but it'll have to do. There's actually only 15 PSA 10s in existence, and it's without a doubt one of the most important cards of the 1980s, and definitely every reason to be considered as one of the top 20 cards of all time. Number 19 is the 1955 Topps Sandy Koufax. Sandy Koufax had a very unique career because he actually retired at the age of 30 due to arthritis in his shoulder. But he had 5 straight seasons where he was, without a doubt, the most dominant pitcher, and is widely considered to have in terms of just 5 seasons, he was the greatest pitcher that's ever lived, a lot of people consider. And during those 5 straight seasons, he had 4 no-hitters and won 111 games, and this is his rookie card. At number 18, I have the 1933 Goudey Nap Lajole. This is considered to be the second most desirable card of all time. He's actually, in terms of the Goudey cards. He was a great defensive second baseman. He had over 3,000 hits. This is the reason why it's so desirable is that in order to get the card, you'd have to go directly to the manufacturer, and so it was sort of like a redemption. And the manufacturer a lot of times would send it with a paper clip. So because the paper clip was on the card, it would sometimes damage the card, which is why it's so hard to, number one, it's so rare, and number two, it's so hard to find a really good version of this particular card. At number 17, I have the 1916 M1015 Sport News Babe Ruth card. This is, I think what's so fascinating about this card is that he's with the Boston Red Sox in this particular card, where he won 94 games as a pitcher. Obviously, everyone remembers him as a hitter, but a lot of people forget that he was also a pitcher. Won 94 games, had 17 shutouts, and even in the World Series, he was 3-0 with an ERA under 1.00, and that's part of the reason why he's widely considered to be the greatest player ever, is because he was a dominant pitcher, which is just absolutely crazy. Number 16 is the 1952 Topps Willie Mays. It's, just to say that high-end vintage cards are hot right now is very redundant. A PSA 9 sold recently in an auction for $478,000. And Willie Mays, one of the greatest players ever. This is without a doubt one of the most iconic cards from the most iconic sets, the 1952 Topps set. At number 15, I have the 1933 Goudey Lou Gehrig. The Iron Horse. He helped elevate baseball out of the Black Sox scandal. He was known for consistency. He held the record for games played until Cal Ripken broke the record, and obviously had an untimely death in 1941, dying of ALS. Later to be known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And this card is just so iconic. If you're a baseball card collector, it's definitely a card that I would love to own, and definitely something that I wanted to consider as a top 15 card. At number 14, I have the 1986 Donruss Jose Conseco, and of course I have a couple versions of this card. This is probably the nicest version that I have. This is one of those cards that back in the day was going for $150 to $200 a card easily. Went way up in value and then just crashed. I think it's one of those cards that would actually be a good investment now, because if you can get it in a really nice condition, because it's so cheap, and it's such an iconic card that, if you collected in the 80s or even in the 90s, it was a card to have, and now you can get it for like $5-10. Number 13 is the 1910 T206 Eddie Plank. He was a great player in itself. He had 327 career wins. He actually had the second most wins of a left-hander until Warren Spahn broke that record. And this is probably the second most desirable card in the T206 set, besides the Honus Wagner. A lot of people think that the reason why the reason why it's so desirable is because of the rarity of the card, and a lot of people think that the rarity of the card has something to do with a broken printing plate, but I don't think it's ever really been confirmed. But there's so few of these Eddie Plank cards. It's like the Honus Wagner. It's definitely one of those cards that is highly desirable, mainly because of the limited supply. Next up at number 12 is the 1914 Cracker Jack Joe Jackson. I'm sure many of you know about the Black Sox scandal, so I'm not going to get into that. If you don't know about the Black Sox scandal, look into it. This is, I think this is kind of a fascinating card because it was actually included in Cracker Jack, in the treat that people would get. It would actually be put in the box of Cracker Jacks. And, another thing that I thought was interesting is that Babe Ruth could have been in this set. Because he was actually playing, but was not included. He was with the Boston Red Sox at the time, but because he's not in the set, the Joe Jackson card is considered to be the most desirable card of the 1914 Cracker Jack set. Next up, at number 11, is the T206 Ty Cobb. There's actually, there were Ty Cobbs discovered where it says on the back, Ty Cobb, King of the Smoking Tobacco World, for whatever that means. And I do have a 1910 T206 Ty Cobb, which I think the red background is the nicest of the quartet of cards, but I guess everyone has their own opinion, and I actually think this card looks very nice for a 1.5. Okay, so now we're going into our top 10, and at number 10 we have the 1985 Topps Mark Mcgwire. This card, unless you grew up in the 80s, early 90s, it's hard to have any context around how important this card was. Even in the late 90s, this card was going crazy when Mark Mcgwire was hitting 70 home runs, and he had this battle with Sammy Sosa. I was reading an article that was written in 1998 where somebody mentioned that a card of his went for $4,000. And I'm not sure if even grading was around back then. And of course, this is actually one of the cards that I'm looking to get graded at tomorrow's National. So hopefully I'll get a good grade. I bought it for $4. So, I bought that card for $4. Who knows? Somebody might have spent $4,000 back in 1998. But just one of the most amazing, to me, it's a very vibrant, really cool-looking card. He's on the USA team. And it's just amazing, just the fall from grace on this particular card, which makes it to the top 10. Number 9 is the 1956 Topps Mickey Mantle. I have seen lists where this is actually the number 1 card of all time. In terms of the card, to me it might be the most visually stunning card of all time. This is also the year that Mickey Mantle won the Triple Crown, and it's got that that cool image of him catching a ball right in front of the wall there. So one of the coolest cards of all time, and my number 9 card. At number 8 is, none of these cards should come as a surprise, by the way. If you're a collector, all these cards are, iconic cards, and this is no different. Number 8, the Ryan Koosman card, a PSA 10 recently sold at auction for $400,000. It's not rare at all. It's not a rare card. I see cards all the time of the Ryan Koosman, but it's such a highly desirable card, and a card you have to have in your top 10. At number 7 is the 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle. A lot of people consider the 1952 Topps the rookie card, but as we all know, the rookie card is actually the 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle. It's part of the high-numbered set, which makes it more rare. I really like the 51 Bowman, how everything's painted, and just a beautiful card, and a card that a lot of people have gone after, considering, the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle has become so incredibly valuable and impossible to get. So, just a beautiful card. At number 6, I have the 1954 Topps Hank Aaron. I think I read something where a mint card was recently sold for $537,000. There are 2 gem mint cards of this. I don't have the gem mint version, but I do have a version. It's an SGC4. And I think part of the reason why it's tough to grade is mainly because of the back, and you can see with this card. Continuing on, this is basically, what I was trying to say is that this is a very condition-sensitive card, which is why there are so few that have great grades. And you can see with the back of this card that it's, you can see the white on the bottom of the green there. But again, just a beautiful card and every reason to have in the top 10. At number 5 is the 1951 Willie Mays, his rookie card, and recently made news because one of the cards was stolen from Rob Schneider, the actor. He had a very valuable 1951 Bowman Willie Mays cards that was stolen from his house. And this card is limited because it was added late in the printing run of Bowman's set, so it's a limited card. It's Willie Mays' rookie card, so without a doubt, every reason to be in the top 5. At number 4 is the 1933 Goudey Babe Ruth, and I actually, there's a quartet of them. You have the green background, the yellow background, the red background, and then, of course, my favorite version of it is the one that I have, which is number 144 of this set. This particular card is actually the least rare of the 33 Goudey, and the one in yellow, I believe, is the most rare. But for me, the number 144 card is, without a doubt, the nicest looking card, and to me, the most desirable. For me, it was the most desirable, but just this particular card is, Babe Ruth's most desirable card, and definitely every reason to include as number 4 on my list. At number 3 is the 1989 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. This is the number 1 card from the Upper Deck set, and this card was actually taken originally. This picture was taken when he was in Class A San Bernardino. He was in the minor leagues, and then they actually changed this and then changed the S to yellow so that it would look like a Seattle Mariners hat. But without a doubt, one of the most iconic card, without a doubt the most iconic Upper Deck card of all time, and just every reason to include as number 3. At number 2, and this was difficult to decide, and I'm glad that this is taking forever to pop up. The 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle. I had a really hard time. Do I do the Mickey Mantle or the Honus Wagner at number 2 or number 1? I decided to go with the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle as number 2. Obviously, just an amazing card. In terms of the actual card, it's probably the most visually amazing cards, and it's part of that amazing 1952 Topps set, part of the high-numbered series, very scarce card. And finally, number 1, and I'm sure to nobody's surprise, the T206 Honus Wagner, sold for $2.1 million a couple of years ago. There's a 30 for 30 shorts that I highly recommend. If you haven't seen it already, maybe I could post a link to the video. And one of the most iconic cards, has so much background to it in terms of scarcity, in terms of value, in terms of just all kinds of, even this particular card, the McNall Gretzky, which the 30 for 30 shorts is about, is that this card was potentially altered. So there's a lot of controversy behind the card. There's a lot of mystery behind it in terms of why there's so few of them. And that is the reason why I decided to have it as the number 1 card. Again, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and please feel free to leave comments, like the video if you liked it, and tomorrow I'm going to the National, so I'm super excited for that, and I will make sure to share the experience with everybody, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Thanks.